But I understand that dealing with schizophrenia, it's a very challenging condition. However, I am committed to my recovery.
Yeah.
I am passionate about my recovery because I'm
Mhm.
passionate about my life, my well
There you
being.
go. Hi, I'm Charlotte Lewis with Share with Charlotte podcast, where emphasis is placed on finding balance in relationships. I am your creator and host, and I want to say thank you for tuning in on this particular one. But before I get started, let me invite you to my previous one, if you could view that one, titled Her Life, Her Journey, Her Calling, and where I had the privilege of having a special guest by the name of India Boston Johnson, incredible 31-year-old, and her story is worthy of being heard. So I hope you take the time to view that one. But I want to go ahead and get started on this particular one. I have a special guest, and her name is Ashley Smith. Matter of fact, if you heard question, trying to think of the name of it, it's Question the Spirit of Depression. And she was actually a special guest back in May of 2024. And she suffers from schizophrenia, from bipolar, and depression. She's been diagnosed with all three, and she's trying to navigate her way through life. She's doing an incredible job. And even I've had people who have asked me to just keep them updated on how she's doing. They even asked me, have you talked to her? And then some said, do you even keep in contact? But the answer is yes, I do. I do keep in contact with Ashley. She's an incredible individual and a very impressive young lady that who I mean to have all this going on, and she's really just doing her. And I just appreciate that. So this particular episode is actually titled In Her Own Ink, and that is also just it's connecting with Ashley Smith journey. We just want to connect with what that is and be a part of that. So I want to just add some things that I didn't add the last time about her that found to be so impressive. Just and I'm just gonna add some of it. I won't add it all. The girl is just she's doing her thing. And that is a beautiful thing to see someone just really just doing life and contributing to life and giving and serving and giving back. Even with the stuff that was dealt to her, she's not letting that be a crutch in her life, but letting it be something that she can literally stand on and motivate her to just give back. I didn't know this because she gave me some of the things last time when I was able to have her on, so I didn't know everything. But these are things I thought was so phenomenal about what she's done in life. And that is, I didn't know really that she uh, was on Sante Gupta with CNN. She was featured. And she went also to a Georgia Mental Health Consumer Network, and they endorsed her blog book at the conference. It's called The Year of the Peer, and where they purchased 500 copies of What's on My Mind. And that's the book that she wrote, but they made sure everybody at that conference got a book. They were just so impressed with her work. And that is huge. Of course, we know she's always done the blog, the Overcoming Schizophrenia, which seems to be a lot of her target in what she's honed in on to try to just compound that with just knowledge with people to understand really what that is. She's been featured in JC's pharmaceutical documentary, Living with Schizophrenia, A Call for Hope and Recovery back in 2011. And she still does a blog. I was just asking, she still does a blog. And so she's busy just educating people and just keeping people in a place of where they can actually find that place of balance within themselves. Because it's hard to navigate life when all this other stuff is going on. We know that, but just even in a place of normalcy, it's hard to navigate life. So you can only imagine what it is for somebody who's actually having those kind of mental issues that's going on that they have no real control over. So, but she's now currently served on the Curtis Foundation Advisory Council, where she's a peer counselor. And she's actually certified as a peer specialist, where they empower individuals living with mental health conditions. And she's been doing that actually since 2012, but she's still currently doing that. And so, actually, hard to just really just to give back. She's just someone who just want to keep giving and giving and giving. And I just want to say this as the last thing, real quick, and that is, I just recently purchased her big book, and it's in her own ink, which is also part of my podcast title. And we just want, because she wrote this, but it's really is to inspire people who want to be a writer or who's struggling with writing, and it's just to empower them with not being intimidated by the idea or even getting started. She's that person. And so I can tell you right now, I've been trying to write a book since 2019, and I have not yet even finished that book. And a lot of it's because, of course, some of it the business, but some of it's like it's just a lot to writing. And so when I purchased this book right here, I was really more inspired. I just felt like God was speaking to me, saying, "This is also something I want you to do." I know I've always felt that, but it's like get off your butt now and do it. And so I thank her for this, because this is really what I needed to be more inspired to do something and do something now. And so what I want to do is bring Ashley on, and I just want you to meet her from where she is now, connect with her life, her journey, because we're just so appreciative. Ashley, thank you. Thank you for being on this particular episode. I thank you. And I read some of the things that you've been doing and have done, and you are honestly still one impressive young lady. I mean, you are doing you and giving back so much. So I know it's a lot that you can update us with on where you are. And why don't you tell us, because it was back in May that you actually was actually on that particular episode. Tell us, what have you been doing? Because people really have been asking about you.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Charlotte. I've been doing a lot. At first, I had some struggles with my depression, but I bounced back with my doctor. We adjust my medication, and
Okay,
I'm in a really good place right now.
good.
I've went back to facilitating classes. I do some trainings with NAMI, the National Alliance of Mental Illness. I'm
Hmm.
also a peer counselor. I work with people in recovery and I support them in their life goals. I assist them with making it to doctor appointments and things of that sort. And I write books.
Beautiful. I was just showing the book that I just purchased in your own ink, and I said, I mean, this is inspiring to me. But actually, it's just incredible that you're just so motivated to just keep diving in. And I mean, it's just a beautiful thing to see that in you. And I know that we talked at one point that you had a hiccup along the way since we last did the last episode. But the thing is, like I said, we all have hiccups, but it's not the hiccup that's more concerning. It's if you can rise above your hiccups and step back out. Can you share a little bit of how you manage that?
Yes, yes. I've been working with my doctor. I have a strict self-care routine. I go to praise and worship. I listen to motivational speakers, and I just try to stay productive. I try to stay busy because that's what's helping me press forward and
Good,
get along from day to day.
good. And it's similar to me, you're feeding yourself a lot of things that are positive.
Yes,
Yeah, because I look at life this way, and that is what you feed and put in yourself is also what comes out. And so it even go to whether the friends you keep or what you do in life. If it's something that does not feel good to you or good feeding to you, then all you're doing is putting stuff in you that literally is only it's gonna affect everything else about you. So you want to get that, and being on the spiritual, I mean, you gotta put God all in it. You have to. Yeah, because you have to lean on something greater than you. And so God is the greatest of all things. So I mean, who's greater than He to lean on? So I mean, I love that. And then to have, like you said, they had to again readjust your medication, because I remember back in May, they had done that, and you had found that place of balance. But see, what I'm thinking too, and you can tell me what your thoughts are. Just like I'm 67 years old, I'm not the person when I was 50. My body is not the same. And so as my body changes, so does everything else. So because I'm not the same. And so there always has to be levels of adjustments or readjustments, because we're not the same. And so I know that was a while back, but at the same time, it worked for you back in
yes,
May. Yeah. And so somewhere along that during your time and period of living, something changed in you. So now it's not the same with the medication. It doesn't have the same effect that it used to have. So it's good that you have a good doctor that can readjust what that is and get you back to a place of balance.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm glad everybody don't have that, but I know last time you encouraged that. Find your doctor, find you someone that can truly treat you and
yes,
treat you correctly.
yes, yes.
Anything else you want to say on that one before we move to something else?
Well, yes. My last hospitalization was 2023, and talking about how our bodies change as we get older, I noticed that it took a while to bounce back from that. After my hospital, I was hospitalized for about a month back in 2023. And when I was regrouping, I had to go really hard on my self care regimen. I was walking, I was journaling. I mean, I was jumping through hoops just to trying to have a good day. And I noticed that I didn't have to do um, as much previously.
Good.
Like
Good.
when I was hospitalized back in 2018, I was hospitalized for a couple of weeks, and then I regrouped from that. But I noticed my body did change. I think about that sometimes as to how my hormones are responding, how I'm staying in balance, things like that. And if I were to be hospitalized again, or when I'm hospitalized again, how that may look like that recuperation stage. And so I do think about that.
Yeah. And you have to because as long as God's giving you breath and you're living, things are changing as you go through life. And I think it's even more so with women because we have so much in we made up of so much stuff, and especially like I said, the hormones and and just all these female bodies, going on in you. That it's even hard to understand where I am. I'm just saying because your body's your body. You can't get
Yes,
away from it. It's gonna change and do what it does. The only thing you can do is just try to manage it. That's just like when I did episode on as you get older, especially with females, our body changes. So it's like, well, I used to be this way. Well, you're no longer that way because now you're 10 years old or you're 5 years old. Now your body's different. It doesn't do that anymore. So
yes.
it's everything is different. I think women just we're the worst. We truly are the worst. And I don't know how men deal with a lot of stuff as much, but I do know that women go through a lot of different changes.
At
Period.
the end of the day, I'm just grateful to understand that recovery is possible. I'm
Hmm.
a faithful advocate when it comes to believing in the importance of self care, believing in the importance of participating in our recovery, like going to therapy, taking our medication, things like that. And so I've come a long way and I have a lot of ways to go. But I understand that dealing with schizophrenia, it's a very challenging condition. However, I am committed to my recovery.
Yeah.
I am passionate about my recovery because I'm
Hmm.
passionate about my life, my
There
well-being.
you go.
And so I
Hmm.
know that I'm going to be able to bounce back no matter how long it takes. If it takes a
Good.
few months, if it takes longer
Hmm.
than that, because me and my doctor have been tweaking my medication for years. I mean, at one point I was on two antipsychotics, two antidepressants, a mood stabilizer, and anxiety medication. And so I'm just saying all that to say that if someone's out there that is struggling right now and their medication is not doing what it should be doing, please continue to try. It's trial and error. But at the end of the day, recovery is possible, and there are better days ahead of us. Just hold on and keep trying.
And for me, I use the word always for myself, fight. You're literally fighting within the life that you're trying to have, that you can envision having. You're trying to fight to get to that place. And when you stop fighting, then you give up. It's just like it's a battle. Look at it as a battle. I'm in a battle of a struggle to get to some sense of balance. And so you just have to have that in you. You just have to have
I'm
that in
so
you.
sorry. I don't know if you heard that, but I have a couple of dogs, Spiky and Bella. And so if you hear some barking or some rough house, I'll correct them. But I do apologize. I have a couple of fur babies, and they're large,
Not a
really big
problem.
dogs.
Not a problem. Not a problem. And as you're thinking of babies, um, you had your son with you last time,
Yes,
back in May when you did this, and I believe you shared with me that he's been in California with your sister, right?
yes, yes. For the school
Yes.
year, I allowed him to stay a little longer. And I
Gotcha.
appreciate my sister and I appreciate that family support. Just being a single parent, being in recovery, it means a lot and it can help further the entire family. I'm just so
Yes.
grateful to have that support system. And so my son is with my sister right now during the school year. And so I'm
Gotcha.
just continuing to work on my self care, continuing to work on my job and on my books. And I'm really
Mhm.
excited about 2025 and where this is going. And when my baby comes
Yes.
home this summer.
There you go. 2020. Is it just me or does 2025 seem like like this is a year of happening? Like things gonna really happen. I'm not talking about the bad thing. I'm just like good is gonna happen. I just feel that in my life. And I've shared some other things with other people too, and they're kind of like on that journey of that mindset of it's just something different about 2025. Do you
Yes.
feel that or is it just me?
Yes, I'm very motivated about 2025. I think
Mhm.
that with a new president in the office, a new year, a new time post COVID, I think that a lot of things are about to change. A lot of people are coming to the forefront with their goals. Everyone's really at a motivating stage right now, being that it's the top of the year. And so I'm excited about 2025. I'm trying to make it my best year yet.
There you go. There you go. And I don't want people to, I know a lot of people are struggling with, like I said, there's new administration that's running the country, but I don't want people to just get so caught up on all of that because God is doing so much. I mean, He already knows that end to what that is. But it's like, but you have enough in your own life to manage you and what you're concerned about in front of you or what concerns you that you love. And so, because we can get so off track that we're too consumed with something else and we neglect what's really here. And we don't want to ever do that because, like I said, it's you can't control a lot of that, but you can manage this. And so we want to make sure, like you said, I'm this is a good year because you already said I'm off. And I just think we need to be off and running with 2025 and just really see how far we can run with it. So that's why even with your book in your own ink, that this year is my year to get back to writing the book that I started. And actually, from looking at, and I've only started reading some of it, but it's gonna make me go back and even look at what I've written because I think there's some things I really need to revise on that. Because your book is, and share more about your book because your book really is giving me a whole different mindset and approach as to how I need to dive in with that book. So I appreciate it because I just think God sent this to me to say you procrastinated. And of course, anything you don't want to do, you do procrastinate. But he's just saying it's time. And so God's timing is always the right time. And so this is not by some accident or coincidence. I know this is a message telling me I'm giving you the tool. So dive back in because what your message is and your story is need to be told. And I'm just gonna share this real quick and then I want you to expound. And that is even my sister, and it's one of my podcasts. I did one on Peel Away the Pain. I think it may be the first or second. I did that like March or April. And the sister that protected me when my mother was doing some crazy things, um, she even, and that is my sister, she said, why don't you write your book? Your story must be told. And because it's a story that just need to be. It's one. So I'm looking at that and just people around me just saying, when you gonna do your book? And then what do? You write on how to write, in your own ink, not anyone ink, but it's mine. And so expound more on what even inspired you and share more about your book for us.
Yes, thank you so much. And I'm excited for you about writing your book. I
Mhm.
said in the past that I believe we all have a unique experience and a story
Mhm.
within us, but I'm excited for you in your book. And so I'm glad that you
Thank
have
you.
a copy of In Her Own Ink. I'm always here whenever you want some more tips or need some motivation to keep
Mhm.
pressing forward. But what makes this book unique is that I actually interviewed 5 other authors on their tips and on their strategies for writing their
Okay.
books. And so I incorporate throughout the book, sprinkled some wisdom and knowledge from these
Mhm.
authors, um, how they overcome writer's block, how they edit their material, and things like that. The 5 authors that I interviewed: Vanessa Abram, Christina Bruni, Terry Morgan, Felicia Johnson, and Wendy Muhammad. These
Okay.
are amazing authors. I made sure they're all
Mhm.
women because I just feel, I don't know. In her own ink,
Yeah.
I was thinking about myself. I was thinking about the people that I've worked with, and I've been writing books since 2014. And
Okay.
ever since I came out with my first book, my first blog book, What's on My Mind, um, a lot of individuals have been coming up to me and saying, "Hey, how did you write your book? Hey, I want to write a
Mm-hmm.
book." And I'm telling everybody, "Hey, you can do it," because I self-published on Amazon, and it's very manageable, it's very doable, it's very reasonable, and it's very achievable. And so I want everybody who has that at the back of their mind to bring it to the forefront. This is your time. This is your time. 2025 is your time to write the book. It's your time to sit down and to really think about your experience, really think about your skills and share it, because we don't know what's going to happen next year. We don't know what's going to happen next month. And so we need to be on the ball. We need to be very serious and intentional about our goals and about where we're going, about who we're influencing and who we're allowing to influence us.
Absolutely. And I love that just to be inspiring because there are so many good stories of life of people's lives or just someone with just a creative mind. Like I think you've written like what 7 books and they're nonfiction. So it don't
Yes,
even have to be necessarily what you live, but a lot of us have this creative mind that we're wasting. We're wasting what someone else could actually benefit and actually appreciate reading because reading is really a good thing because it takes you somewhere other than where you are. And so to be, like I said, not when you're doing those fiction, I think it's nonfiction or fiction. Which
yes,
book were it?
nonfiction.
Yes.
I
And
have,
so when you're doing that, but you're literally writing because, and I look at that too, actually, God gave you your own. When you have a story of your own, you really don't have to make nothing up because he give you so much of what he, matter of fact, you'll sound like literally will sound like a fiction because that's some stuff. But he give you enough and so much that you should share. Because I promise you, a lot of what we go through, we are not the only one. We're not the only one, but some people don't know how to move beyond some things. Um, and I was just speaking with a young lady, and it's just, we hold so much in, but writing allows you to put that out there. And it's also a form of healing. That's
yes,
why people say, won't you journal? They say that because it's good to write it down so you can put your eyes on it. It's not just what's in here, but you can put your eyes on it. And now it becomes something out here that you can actually see. And now that I see it, now maybe I can literally deal with it because it's much harder when it's in here. It's way harder. But when you put your eyes on it, but this book really, like I said, it's just been one of inspiration for me. And like you said, yours has been nonfiction. You've lived enough. You don't have to go make up nothing. You ain't got to make up nothing. Actually, you've lived. You got some stories. You got some
yes,
stories all by yourself. But it's also, as you do a twist on it, it's also the healing part. You know, how do you heal and how do you manage that? Because in your condition, than someone else's condition, pain is something that you can manage once you've forgiven or once you've gotten to a place of you can face it, you can deal with it. But when you're dealing with your depression, when you're dealing with schizophrenic, when you're dealing with bipolar, that's a lifelong journey for you.
yes,
I've dealt with pain that of course I remember it, but I'm not in pain. You will forever, that just who you are defined by that in a sense, but you don't allow it to manage your life. It
hmm,
doesn't manage your life. You're still trying to be in control of your life as much as you can until it shows its ugly head again. Now I got to put you back in a box and to go back, and now I got to remanage my life because it's going to keep raising its head because you're changing as you live life. You're changing because, like we talked before, because your body's changing. Life things happen that can even be a trigger.
hmm.
Yeah.
And I want to go back for a moment because I'm not sure if your viewers have seen the previous episode that was on Question the Spirit of
Mhm.
Depression. But I learned about my diagnosis through a legal intervention. I was a college student. I had taken a break from school. I was 20 years old at the time. I relocated from Atlanta back to California. And I just got up one day and I was a mess. I didn't realize that for months I was having unknown symptoms of schizophrenia. I didn't know I was dealing with a medical condition. And so I was hearing voices, I was seeing spirits, I was suspicious of family and friends poisoning me, gossiping about me, trying to kill me. The whole world was after me. And I believe that one day I just got up and I just left. I my family put in a missing persons report. I was gone for a few days, and this happens to a lot of individuals and families dealing with undiagnosed schizophrenia. As we just get up and we just leave one day, and they have to file a missing persons report. And sometimes, like myself, we get into a crisis mode. I end up in jail. I went a high speed chase with the police. I thought that the police was in on it. I thought that everyone was demonic and trying to kill me. I saw the Sydney pickup truck and I thought it was a present from God, my way to escape the demons, my way to save myself. And
Yeah.
so I won this high speed chase with the police. I ended up being jailed in the hospital for 5 months back in 2007. That's when I was 20 years old. I'm 38 today. And I've come a long way. I've had 3 hospitalizations, 2007, 2018, and 2023. And I'm just fortunate to have a strong support system, a strong family to help
Yeah.
me help myself get well and to
Mhm.
stay well, especially
Mhm.
with my son. I have a 13-year-old
Mhm.
son, as
Mhm.
we talked about earlier, big boy. And
Yeah.
so, what I do to manage my well being is I take my medication, I attend and participate in my therapy. I also support peers. Peer support has done wonders in my life. When I learned about my diagnosis, I went to a youth program for people with mental illness and substance abuse. I learned about Wellness Recovery Action Plan, WRAP, Mary Ellen Copeland's crisis plan. And I learned about a lot of things about my diagnosis. I learned a lot about myself. I think the ideal treatment for living in recovery is self awareness, self acceptance, and support. And I think if
Yeah.
you have those aspects, if you gravitate towards them, if you grasp and hold on to them for dear life, you are gonna make it. And if you can't make it, your family can make it for you.
Good. Glad you had all that. I know, and I'm encouraging everyone who's listening to this particular episode. Please go back to May and really listen to her testimony, her story, sharing her journey, because it's a lot more in detail, and of course you're speaking to them as terms of not just where you are or where you at that particular time or have been, but it's also want to help others if you see where that's where you are, how you can actually manage your life, because if you always say if I can do it then you can do it,
Yeah.
because like I said, we're nobody special, because it's just how we're doing it, and so that determines whether or not you succeed or you fail at it. And so you gave some really, really good information, but your story just, like I said, it to me it should inspire people, because you're doing that, and what I love to Ashley, is you want who have accepted that part. It's not like you in denial, like some people would be, going to make excuses for it, or act as if it's not happening, but you have literally looked at it head on and acknowledged it to yourself and accepted this what it is. Now, what am I going to do about it? And like I said, initially, you had no clue because it was
Yeah.
so out of character with you. And, and you share that part of who you were at that time, but that was nothing like you. And, but once you realized it, okay, now that I see what it is, you have to literally learn now, what am I going to do? How am I going to manage this thing? How am I going to address this? Because I want my life back.
Yes.
I want that girl back.
Mhm.
And so people need to be inspired and say, if you don't like where you are with all this stuff, then what are you going to do about it? But don't just do nothing. Don't do nothing, because you want that life back. You want to be functioning, and you want to be in a place of balance so that you can enjoy the life that God gives you, not just
Yes.
always remain in a struggle with the life that God gave you.
And I think that
Yeah.
I've been very fortunate to be blessed with the gift of resiliency, the spirit of resiliency. But it's not only a gift and a spirit of resiliency, it's also a skill. Like I said, I've been hospitalized a few times. My story speaks for itself. I've been to jail a couple of times under my diagnosis. I've been hospitalized. I've had to step back and stay at home away from work and just work on myself for months at a time. Back in the day, I'm back in the game. I'm back in the game of life. I'm back doing things I want and need to do by taking care of myself
Right.
first. And that these goals that we have are attainable. I mean, yes, I was diagnosed at age 20 with schizophrenia. And from 20 to 38, I've experienced quite a bit. But at the end of the day, I'm still moving forward. I'm
There
still
you go.
pressing forward. I'm still running that
Mhm.
race, and I'm still doing what I like to do. As we were saying, that writing is therapeutic, and it's
It is, yeah.
self-expression and creativity,
Mhm.
and that's helped me so much in my own
Mhm.
recovery. And now I'm writing books. I have 7 books out, 4 blog
Yes,
books, 2 inspirational books, devotionals. Um,
yes.
and I just encourage anyone and everyone who has a story that wants
Mhm.
to share it, get it out of you.
Mhm.
Take the time
Yes.
out and just meditate on it. And if you can
Mhm.
talk, you can write. And I just
Mhm.
encourage you to take a look at my book. Get my book In Her
Mhm.
Own Ink. It's available on Amazon,
Yes.
amazon.com/author/Smith Ashley. That's my author page. I have In
Mhm.
Her Own Ink among my other books, and it's going to really help you in your fight for recovery, in your fight to write that book, and in your fight dealing with yourself, because I try to keep all my books motivational and inspirational and sharing my recovery experience, and also reminding the individual that, hey, you are resilient. This is what humans are about. We get back up. We don't just crawl somewhere and die. We can't. We have to press
Yeah.
forward. We have to get back up. We have to talk to ourselves and communicate our needs and our wants with other people and ask for help. And so when I ask for help, when I run after my goals, I'm living in recovery, I'm managing my recovery, and I'm thriving in recovery. And I'm just so
That's beautiful.
grateful. I'm grateful for my faith. I'm grateful for my family and my support system. I'm grateful for NAMI Georgia, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, for guiding me, training me, educating me on my diagnosis, getting me around peers that believe in recovery and that want more. And so I want to encourage anyone and everyone who knows someone with a diagnosis of schizophrenia, bipolar depression, whatever it is, eating disorder. Hey, recovery is possible. Get
Yes.
around some individuals who are working on the recovery, and you can rise together. We
Mhm.
can come up together. We can press forward and live in our recovery, being aware of our diagnosis, trumping the stigma. Stigma is a significant barrier to recovery, a significant barrier to getting help, asking for help. There's a lot of myths out there about people with schizophrenia. I've been called demonic a couple of times, and it's scary for me that people would think something so negative over a medical condition. I'm just like you. I'm just like your teacher.
Right.
I'm just like your brother,
Right.
your sister, your mother.
Yeah.
I have goals. I have a life. I
Mhm.
have a family. I'm
Mhm.
not I don't have a split
I'm worthy.
personality.
And you're worthy.
I'm I'm not violent. I'm
Mhm.
not I'm a person too, and I'm recovering. I'm dealing with this medical condition as much as I can for myself and for my community. I used to be a poll worker. I'm an upright citizen. I used to be a poll worker. I used to and encourage people not to drink and drive and SAD, students against destructive decisions, when I was in high school. I mean, I've done a lot of wonderful things in life, as well as you have in the community and for yourselves. And it's important that we know that schizophrenia is a medical condition like diabetes, like high blood pressure. Yes, it's invisible. Yes, it's very challenging, but yes, it's manageable. And that's why I want people to really understand that schizophrenia, among the long list of mental illnesses, is manageable. Recovery is possible for everybody.
The good thing is you don't have to let that define you. I mean, that's not just mental health issue. I'm talking about any medical issue. I mean, because you still have value and you're still worthy. So, but I think if you get lost in that, then you devalue yourself. No one even have to do that to you. You're doing it to yourself. And so because like you're saying, it's a condition. But it does not define your life. because you have, and you're literally living your life, and you're giving back so much. Actually, you really are. You're giving back a lot, and but that's all. God allows. I always look at God two ways, and He gives what God creates. He creates with purpose, but also what God allows, He allows with purpose. And so you didn't do anything to create this in you. You were just doing life, and bam, you hit a wall. Not even understand what it was. So to me, it's like, it's nothing that Ashley did, but what happened to Ashley, and there it is. So, but what God did was He used what happened to Ashley and allowed you to take a different journey than the one you thought you planned out, and still doing God's work. You're still doing God's work. You're just doing it on a different platform, but you're still doing God's work, because I look at it like this: is when He rechannels your life, just like I have a lung disease, and my whole life has gone a whole nother channel. That's because that's where He needed me to be. And so if it took that for God to put you here, because He needed you to be here, He had to give you what He gave you to rechannel you to be in this place, doing good for these people, making it known, putting it out there, putting your work in. Because it's all about, at the end of the day, it's about God's work. It's about His purpose. It's about His calling on your life. And that's a period. So it took that, just like it took me to be in this place. And I didn't do anything to cause my situation. But I do know and still understand why He did it and why He allowed it, because I need to be here, this place where I am, because I would not have been here. I'm just telling you, my life was somewhere else. It would not even be close to where I am right now, because it took me on a whole nother journey. But this is where God needed me to be, and that's where He needs you to be, where you are. And you're obedient to His calling because you're doing His work. And you're doing a remarkable, beautiful, just one with passion and love. And you're literally helping people with passion. And that's the beauty. So I want to encourage people again who are listening, go back and listen to her in May. Get the fullness of a lot of what her journey has been. And then this is also catching up on things that she's doing now. So we're just connecting with your journey, Ashley. And one that I just appreciate you, because you inspire, because I know it's not easy. And you never said it's easy. You just said it's the resilience in you that I just refuse to just not. And so we want other people to just refuse to not give up, refuse to not fight, refuse to not accept it without knowing that you can still manage in it, because you can, because we're looking at you. You're doing it.
Yes.
So if you're doing it, other people can do it.
Yes.
Anything last you want to say?
Yes, if you're interested in looking at In Her Own Ink or any of my books, go to amazon.com/author/Smith Ashley. And if you want to contact me personally, my email is ashleysmith6082@gmail.com. Again, it's ashleysmith6082@gmail.com. And if you want to learn more about my recovery experience, go to my blog, Overcoming Schizophrenia. I appreciate being on your show, Charlotte. I thank you so much.
Oh, I appreciate you, Ashley, just giving us an update and letting us connect with where you are, because you're an inspiration. You really are. And it won't be the last, because your journey continues. And so we want to keep people inspired, because believe it or not, mental health is a big thing now. It's huge, more than ever. And so some people have been diagnosed, some people out there trying to figure it out. They don't even know what's going on. But like I said, it took you to get into the legal system.
Yes.
For them to figure out what was wrong with you. It's not like you went searching for it. No, it found you. That's the difference. And so we want to encourage people. Some just seem a little off, and it's like I'm out of balance. I'm not understanding because I'm not myself. Go and just seek help, so that if something really is going on that's beyond your control and you haven't yet defined it, go so someone else can tell you what that is, and at least define that for you. So maybe now you can see things in a different light, and you can now be on your way to recovery or just getting some real help. And so that really is for anybody. And that is just, or tell somebody, because some people are going through stuff and won't share. if you are sharing with somebody, don't just hold this to yourself. No, you should put that out there and you share with somebody. So you don't have to carry it all by yourself. All of that. So actually, I thank you. I thank you for what you're doing, but I also thank you for sharing what you're doing with the people that are listening and being a part of my journey, which is Share with Charlotte. And so, and people like you is what's keeping me up. And I thank you because you've been so encouraging even to me, not just the writing part. I mean, but you check in with me and you support me in my column. And I thank you and I want to support you in yours because I know God is literally in what you're doing. You know that. So thank you. And I just want to say to the ones that are listening, thank you for being a part of this particular episode. And if you found this to be insightful, whether good feeding, something you can share with someone else that they can benefit from this message, please share. And if you like the message and you like this particular episode, click the like button. And if you have not yet subscribed or followed, please do so. I would appreciate that and be a part of my podcast community. And I just want to thank you for keeping me encouraged. Go to my YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and just TikTok, and just continue to support me and what God has called me to do. And I just thank you. And on the next particular one, we'll see what God sent me as a message. But thank you again, Ashley. And thank you guys for taking time to listen. Thank you.